Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're so happy for you to join us today. My name is Nadia Agour. I use she, her, hers, and I'm a staff social worker at Counseling and Psychological Services.
Hello everyone, my name is Jessica Tao. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I'm currently a post-MSW fellow and also a counselor at CAPS.
Our goals for today are to provide suggestions on how parents can assist their students and themselves to effectively transition to the State of Michigan. We'll also be sharing information about Counseling and Psychological Services, or CAPS. This webinar is being recorded and the chat function has been disabled. We would love to answer your questions, so as questions arise, please submit them via the Q&A feature, and we'll be sure to address them at the end of our presentation.
Here is an overview of today's section. We'll be touching on a number of common transitions that both students and parents experience, as well as some tips on how to navigate these transitions. We'll also provide information about various resources, such as our service here at CAPS. And as Nadia mentioned, there will be some time at the end of the presentation for addressing questions.
As we look at this image and start out our presentation, we encourage you to take a moment to pause and reflect. Take a few deep breaths and think about your student, think about where they are right now in their development, reflect on what's important to them right now. What conversations might you want to have with your student prior to them leaving? What kind of support might they find beneficial? We encourage you to continue to breathe through this presentation and to keep all of your hopes for your student in mind as they continue to transition to U of M.
Now, let's get into the common transitions that first-year students often navigate. Leaving home for college can bring about many new experiences for your students. These past few years have been challenging. Depending on the circumstances and environment, your student may be navigating the transition from being mainly remote to hybrid to in-person. This is another layer of transition to being on campus, and your student may need time and space to adjust. This adjustment period may be stressful and feel awkward, especially when it is with entirely new people. This may also be your student's first experience living on their own. For many students and parents, getting ready to leave for college might be a time of mixed emotions, such as feeling sad, excited, and anxious all at once. Acknowledging the feelings they have and providing a listening, supportive ear can be very helpful. But don't be surprised if they tell you they are fine and ready to go. They may not want to acknowledge their own feelings or acknowledge that you might be having some as well. So of course, missing home and familiar surroundings is another common transition among students. Students will be navigating new environments, resources, and people on campus, all of which will become more familiar with time and help to contribute to a sense of home at UM. Other transitions for students include lifestyle and routine adjustments, such as waking themselves up for class, or another example may be learning how to navigate being sick for the first time without family. This is just one example of students transitioning to increased independence and responsibilities. Related to that are the general adjustments to having a new routine. Whereas high school typically provides more structure, students will be learning how to balance the numerous responsibilities that come with being a college student. And as it relates to living situations, some students may be living with a roommate for the first time, and getting alone may not always be easy. While this can be a great opportunity to make a new friend, it is also common for students to face some challenges with this process, such as learning how to share a space, adapting to someone else's living habits, and learning how to communicate effectively and resolve conflict. Other interpersonal adjustments include making new friends. This can be an exciting but also anxiety-provoking transition to meet new people. There are a number of opportunities for students to find friends groups, and we will touch on strategies to consider in the coming slides. And finally, students will have the opportunity to connect with people from diverse backgrounds. We learn not only in the classroom, but also from each other, which is a crucial part of living into the values of multiculturalism and inclusivity. Now we will get into some other common challenges and stressors involved with transitions to college.
Next, we will watch a video. Before we do that, we want to be sure to recognize the artwork and images that are on each slide. The art was created by an undergraduate student in STAM's School of Art and Design that is also featured on our first year experience guide. That will be talked about more later in the presentation. For the video, this is a brand new CAPS video created by Filmic. We decided on a video that was more innovative and out of the box from a more creative and student engagement perspective.
Oh, Frida, I'm going there to cancel the appointment.
Jamie, we talked about this. You can in class, helping someone next to help.
Well, I can talk to you, right?
A professional.
Listen, I gotta go. Hello? Hello?
Check your pocket.
Excuse me? I'd like to cancel my appointment.
Hello! Ticket, please.
What is this place?
Welcome to the magical, the mystical, the wonderful inner caps. My name's Poppy, which stands for Personal Operations Provider and Presenter. Yay! Our tour begins in 3, 2, 1. It's not love.
How do we do that?
It's time to pick
What?
The show's about to start. First up, we have Rahalio. Now, Rahalio's been struggling a bit with his classes. Isn't that right, Rahalio?
I'm really behind in calc right now.
Oh, Math 116. Derivatives? How about we deriva-don't? All aboard!
How do we get outside?
Inside, outside, does it really matter? No, that's the Wolverine Support Network, a completely student-run alternative to traditional counseling. It looks like they're building a thread of trust. Really stressing me out.
I'm excited for break. Heads up.
Well, aren't you gonna throw it back?
An arcade.
No! Group therapy, silly.
Alright, can you stop doing that?
Oh, sorry. I just get so excited. Okay, look down this hallway. What do you see?
Doors?
No, silly. Opportunity. Each of these doors leads to individual therapy.
It's a lot of couches.
Well, there are a lot of students struggling with anxiety and depression who call CAPS for help. Like you.
I'm fine.
Well, even so, everyone can gain something from talking to someone. That's why there are embedded therapists in every college and university to help students out.
So what's the point of all this?
Think of this entire tour as your initial consultation, where we go over the options and find the best fit for you. One of those options is individual therapy, and another one, and my personal favorite, is the CAPS Wellness Zone. Chamomile? Couples therapy. You're gonna want to watch this. No, don't fret, Pip. I can schedule you with an outside therapist. That's care management. They help students get help outside of the university. Doing great, Poppy. Thanks, Pappy. Cupcake? Woo! So, what do you think?
Well, Caps is bigger than I thought.
Check your pocket. Now, it's time to chart your own course.
Can I, take some time to decide? I'll call once I get everything sorted out. Thanks for everything, Poppy.
Thank you for calling Caps. My name's Poppy. How can I help you today?
Want to get involved with CAPS? Join or visit CAPS in Action, CAPS Student Advisory Board, Outreach, and Community Workshops. CAPS can be reached 24 hours by phone at 734-764-8312 or by email at caps-uofm@umich.edu.
That video is a nice backdrop to talking about more the common concerns that students bring into CAPS. And now let's talk about the top 5 reasons that first-year students have self-identified why they visit CAPS. Anxiety is the top reason that students seek out help at CAPS. You can likely imagine the number of things a new student would be anxious about, whether that's adjusting to a new environment, navigating new relationships, or getting used to a demanding academic schedule. Depression is the next common concern reported by students. Sometimes all that students are adjusting to and balancing can lead to distress, decreased motivation, and changes in energy or interest in things once pleasurable. Emotion management is another common struggle that often accompanies the stress and overwhelm of adapting to college. Every student comes to campus with their own unique strength and resilience, but there are times when additional help can bolster those tools to regulate emotions. Academic performance. Students often have the desire to do well and are often concerned about their performance. There are many factors that may contribute to this concern. And stress. It goes hand in hand with many of these concerns.
And as a gentle reminder, if your student faces any of the concerns mentioned thus far, it's important for parents to normalize and validate their concerns. It can be very powerful for parents to validate that the transitions they're facing are common, they're not alone, and challenges can be worked through. The following slides will include tips on how to help your student transition.
So our first tip is to encourage students to try and connect with others to make friends. There are countless events held on campus that aim to increase students' connection. And this year, there will be some events that are held in person and some that will potentially remain virtual. Some examples include Festival, North Feast, and Excavate. They occur during the first few weeks of school to provide opportunities to engage and connect with all of the student organizations on campus. It is a great way to get involved in a particular passion area, meet new people, and try something new. Additional tips to encourage students to keep in mind include branching out from familiar friend circles. For example, being the first one to say hello, being flexible, and adjusting schedules when possible, and to consider joining a club or organization.
Second tip is reaching out for support and knowing that we are all in this together, that your student is part of a campus community of others with similar stressors and concerns and joys and successes. Some of your students may not have a lot of practice in asking for help, especially those who did well in high school. We encourage students to communicate their experiences. Attending office hours and talking with graduate student instructors or GSIs and professors can be very beneficial. Seeking out support in this way can be challenging for some students due to shame, embarrassment, perfectionism, and cultural norms. While these concerns are real and need to be validated and normalized, frame asking for help as a sign of success and not weakness. Resources are available and other students access them regularly. Professors and GSIs can't help students if they don't know what help is needed. For students looking for tips on how to talk to a professor, we have a video on the topic. The YouTube link is at the end of the presentation.
And our third tip, getting support can look like a lot of things. Give permissions and encouragement for students to reach out to friends, resident advisors, and academic advisors. CAP service are another resource there. Students can schedule an initial consultation online. They can also keep in mind our counselor on duty service, which is our crisis service that allows students to see a counselor the same day they call in to help navigate a self-identified crisis. We also have an after-hours service, which is another crisis service that connects students directly with a mental health professional via phone call after our normal business hours. I also want to highlight the peer services that CAPS provides. Peer counseling service allows students to talk one-on-one with a trained peer about their concerns. And the Voring Support Network is another peer-led peer support option that is overseen by CAPS, which offers a group support experience rather than a one-on-one interaction.
The fourth tip is for students to be creative and proactive about taking care of their mental health. CAPS created Go Blue, a new student's guide to surviving and thriving at U of M, which includes numerous suggestions for students as they transition to U of M. Topics include money and time management, living with roommates, feeling lost, and managing conflict, among others. It's an excellent resource, and we encourage you all to check it out. It can be found on the link in this slide and also in the Zoom chat. We also encourage use of our apps and online resources. They're free and designed to support student mental health, including breathing exercises, tips on sleep, managing mood, to name a few. Why not be on our phones and use resources that will help us build skills to more easily navigate life's stressors?
Our last general tip is to just remember the basics. It can be easy to lose sight of the most fundamental elements of wellness, such as getting enough sleep, maintaining a balanced diet, taking time for exercise, and having fun connection with others. Many of these things fall under the umbrella of self-care. Of course, everyone who comes to Michigan is highly academically driven, but academic success isn't possible without the proper self-care we need.
Okay, enough about them. What about the parents? You're also going through your own transition. Once again, take a moment to pause and reflect. Take another deep breath and consider how their transition has been so far. Pause and congratulate yourself, acknowledging that your student is about to start at the University of Michigan. It took a lot of work for you all to get to this point. Consider if there's any support you might need so you can be present to support your student.
For some parents, this is first time having a child go to college, and you may be new to college process yourself, given your experiences and background, such as attending college in another country or a family of the first generation students. And some of you may be first time empty nestlers. This can be exciting, stressful, sad, and you may even feel a sense of loss. The important thing to know is that there's no right way to feel, and it is very common and expected to have mixed emotions about this transition that you are going through yourself.
So how can you do something to help? First, trust your past parenting. You've worked hard to get your student here. Support their independence and decision-making. For transition age youth, this is an important developmental stage and one that can be navigated with a balance of trusting your student and also checking in and being available for support and advice. Anticipate some anxiety and ups and downs. We encourage you to validate your students' feelings and communicate openly. Discuss realistic expectations and how high school performance may differ from starting at the university. We encourage you to focus your questions on courses and what is being learned versus on grades. Decreasing comparison of themselves and their performance to their peers can also be a helpful strategy. For some of you, this may be the first time you're sending a student off to college, and for others, you may have prior experience. We encourage all of you to know when to intervene. You know your student. If it's seeming like they're not themselves, they're needing support, encourage them to utilize resources. It's important for you to know the resources and also know your limits to know when additional support is needed. Also, it might be helpful to begin to have conversations before coming to campus about common struggles that they may experience when they arrive on campus and during the academic year. An example conversation starter may be, I know you're excited about starting school next month, and I'm excited for you too. Before school starts, I'd like to talk with you about some common struggles that might arise. Also, if any of you are finding that you need support, seeking out your own help can be a great way to model help seeking.
And recognizing when your student may be struggling is an important part of knowing when to intervene. It's a strength to take advantage of resources. So what do we at CAPS offer? We provide free, confidential, short-term, solution-focused therapy to currently enrolled students through one-on-one relationship and group therapy options. We are located at the Michigan Union on the 4th floor, and we also have embedded counselors in particular schools on campus who currently can be contacted via email. Our hours of operation and contact information are listed here, and you can find more information by checking out our For Parents section on our website.
Our diverse staff is passionate about college mental health. Each of us has advanced training in social worker psychology and are dedicated to working with U of M students. In addition to the services mentioned, we also provide topic and identity-specific programming. We also provide lunch series for international students and students of color with our campus partners. We also have online mental health screenings for students who want a better understanding of what they're experiencing.
It's important to plan ahead if your student have pre-existing mental health conditions or could benefit from longer-term therapy. Identifying therapists in the Ann Arbor community, ideally before the academic year begins, is a helpful first step. There are too many resources to help with this process, and we are going to send the 2 links later. Students may be reluctant to talk with parents about seeking therapy in the community due to maybe worries about finances or insurance. And we encourage you to have an open dialogue with your student about their concerns and the significance of seeking support to help your students maintain wellness and be successful while at UN. It's also important to know that sometimes mental health concerns can impact academic performance. Students may also consider contacting the Service for Students with Disabilities or SSD department to inquire about academic accommodations, such as extended testing time.
Here are some links to other videos created by our CAPS Student Advisory Board, including topics on how to help a friend and how to initiate a conversation with a professor. In addition to our central office, we have counselors who are embedded in schools and colleges. These counselors are members of CAPS staff who also know quite a bit about the culture of the school and college in which they are embedded. For more information, check out this webpage. Also, here's an additional resource to help locate off-campus mental health resources.
And as we wrap up, please keep in mind that the Division of Students' Life has many different units other than CAPS that can be of assistance for students during their time at UN. As a few examples, the University Health Service, or UHS, is where students can schedule a doctor's visit. The Multi-Ethnic Students Affairs, or MESA, provides programming and support around diversity and social justice initiatives. And the Spectrum Center offers many resources to support the LGBTQ+ community. Encourage your students to learn more about these various units and how they can be helpful during their time here at the university.
Thanks so much. We'll now transition to the question and answer portion. Feel free to add questions and we'll address them. If you would prefer, you're also welcome to email CAPS. So let's go ahead and check out the questions. So we have a question about the video and it highlighting peer support. Do we have professional support? Hopefully that's been answered a little bit, but yes, we are a staff of social workers and psychologists who offer short-term solution-focused therapy to students from that professional standpoint. Second question is, my child and psychiatrist for anxiety, depression, OCD. How do they transition to someone in Ann Arbor if their therapist is out of state? Who can I reach out to get them set up within the first few weeks? Good question. So in order to find a therapist locally, we did provide some links. So you can use the U of M community provider database. The link should be in the chat. There's also psychologytoday.com. And so when you use those websites, you can filter by issue that your student is experiencing. You can filter by insurance as well to kind of find people within your insurance network. If you require additional support to that, you can call into CAPS to get some assistance getting referrals for kind of longer term therapists if that's what your child is requiring. And we can help you to do that as well. Are there on-site therapists, counselors for monthly visits, or do the students need to find someone off-site? So we do have counselors on site, both in our embedded offices and in our central office in the union. And so, the monthly visits, so you can schedule with the counselors on site. We offer virtual visits and some on-site visits. So your students have the option of selecting somebody on-site or off-site, depending on what their needs are. If their needs would be met by shorter-term solution-focused therapy, kind of adjusting to the university, CAPS may be a good option. If they need longer-term support kind of through the years that they'll be at the university and you want to find them someone to carry them through those years, then they can find somebody on-site and we can also help them find somebody off-site. The next question is, does CAPS make referrals to psychiatrists if needed? We do. So if a student comes in with concerns that we believe would be better addressed or supported by a psychiatrist, we can refer them to either psychiatrists in the Ann Arbor community or psychiatrists at the University Health Service, which is also an on-campus resource. We plan to visit next week from out of state. Can we just visit CAPS to meet the team to get more information? So you are welcome to come into the CAPS office. I'm not sure if that would include kind of meeting the team, as you would probably be able to meet with a counselor if you schedule an appointment once the fall semester begins. You can also call in for information or stop in for information, and the front desk staff can do their best to answer the question, but there may not be an opportunity for like a team meeting. If students are struggling to form strong, meaningful connections or meaningful friendships, are there services like relationship coaches or counselors who help boost self-confidence and self-esteem? Yeah, so, interpersonal connection can be a concern that we address in individual counseling. Group counseling is a great way to provide an opportunity to connect with individuals and to address issues that kind of creates concerns in connecting with others. So we would really recommend the group therapy for kind of connection concerns. We also have the lunch series that happen that may be a good resource, and then individual counseling can support that, as can peer counseling as well. Are there health insurance options for students? What if they won't be covered by a parent's policy? Who should we contact to learn about this? This is a great question. So at the University Health Service, so it is a separate department, but it is a campus resource. They have a care management office, and that office can help to a student to apply for insurance options, including Medicaid. And so, yeah, I would encourage you to contact the University Health Service for questions about supporting a student to apply for their own health insurance. There may be other resources that Joe is aware of regarding health insurance that he may be able to share as well. I'm not sure if Jessica, if you have anything to add as well.
Yeah, thank you, Nadia. I think those are good answers. And I also just clicked the link from Managed Care Office there. You can see that they provide a lot of different services from the current insurance. And I hope you can get something helpful there.
It looks like we've tackled all of the questions that have come in. Again, feel free to call into CAPS or email the CAPS email if any questions come up. Thank you all so much for being here.